Keeping civilians safe requires massive surveillance operations. I suppose no harm there. And most of us trust our leaders that it really is the terrorists being targeted and not us.
There is no spying on Americans. We don't have a domestic spying program. What we do have are some mechanisms where we can track a phone number or an email address that we know is connected to some sort of terrorist threat.
This week, though, a brand new revelation suggested otherwise. Gemalto is the world's biggest SIM card producer. According to classified documents provided by Edward Snowden, the NSA hacked right into the Dutch company's computer network, stealing encryption codes. This gives them the ability to listen into hundreds of millions of calls worldwide and monitor the mobile data, and all of this without any permission from any government or any telecom company. And British intelligence also appears to be on it. In one GCHQ memo, the staff congratulate themselves on putting malware in Gemalto's computers and infiltrating their network. The company has launched an investigation promising to use all available resources to find out the scope of this alleged hack, though there is a wide range of data that could have been breached. Gemalto makes not just SIM cards for people, but smart chips for banks, for the governments, politicians, as well as many indeed wireless providers. For example, the Amsterdam-based company operates in 85 countries, producing 2 billion SIM cards a year. The list of clients was huge. 450 operators around the globe. It's the biggest supplier of SIM cards. Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T are all among the customers. Mark Rogers, the head of security at the DEF CON hacker conference, he says the reach of the NSA, well, it's everywhere.
It's a continuation of a theme that we've been seeing for a while now. They're doing everything they can to compromise infrastructure as much as possible so that they can gather as much information as possible. What was a little bit of a shock for me was how easy it was for them. It looks like these companies really did not have very secure practices in how they handled this is incredibly sensitive material. And now that it's in foreign hands, it's almost impossible for them to resolve this easily. I kind of anticipate them being into almost everything. I mean, so far, we've understood that they've compromised mobile phones. This key data, the key material they've stolen, are literally the keys to the kingdom for mobile phones. I struggle to see what else that there is that they can't intercept. It sounds to me like they're pretty much pervasively in everything, and we're going to have to spend the next 5 or 6 years working on how to rebuild everything to get them out of it.
All right, to some other global headlines in brief. The Turkish military carried out a cross-border operation in Syria overnight. Ground troops backed by warplanes crossing the frontier to evacuate soldiers who were actually guarding an Ottoman tomb in the Aleppo province. The Turkish Prime Minister says the operation a success. The tomb has been safely moved to Turkey. It's all about the burial place of Süleyman Shah. It was guarded by 40 Turkish soldiers, though they had been surrounded by ISIS. A river ferry carrying over 100 people has capsized in Bangladesh. Police say it collided with a cargo vessel outside the capital, Dhaka. One child has been confirmed dead. Several are still missing. The rescue operation is ongoing. Now, France has become the biggest source of immigration to Israel following a surge in anti-Semitic attacks. A journalist went for a walk in Paris to find out just how dangerous life has become for Jews living there. He was featured in our program In the Now.
Nothing like a stroll down Paris streets unless you're a Jew. Joining us in the Now is journalist Zivka Klein, who was in this video. Tell us, why did you decide to make this?
I'm a journalist. I've been covering Jewish world affairs for the past few years, and almost every day I either read a report or write about different anti-Semitic attacks. How can we actually check and see if this is true? You know, we could keep on reading the media and assume that there is anti-Semitism and terrible things going on, but we wanted to see it for ourselves. We wanted to see what the average Jew who wears a kippah on his head, who wears a head covering, how he feels walking in the streets of Paris. And unfortunately, I found out that it wasn't very easy.
Well, that video actually prompted one Muslim student in Italy to carry out his own tolerance test, this in Milan. He walked the streets for 5 hours wearing traditional clothes. Now, it is tough to actually hear the comments that are lobbed at him, but the filmmaker gave us subtitles so you can check out some of the reaction he got. Well, Italy, which has been accepting thousands of immigrants from North Africa each month, has certainly seen a surge in anti-Muslim sentiment. Last year, a poll showed that 80% of Italians surveyed wanted fewer immigrants in their country, while over 60% expressed a negative view of Muslims, the biggest rate among all the countries surveyed. An Islamic human rights activist told us that Muslims are facing growing hostility across Europe.
The level of Islamophobia and attitude towards Muslims have been sort of deteriorating in Europe. The events both in Paris and in Denmark have actually put further pressure on people. And the reality is that the stereotyping that is unleashed against Muslims, it's indeed that stereotyping. And, there is no way of separating. When you see someone outwardly Muslim in the street, then they are going to be targeted. That is going to be very damaging, not just for the Muslims, but it will be very damaging for the whole society. All these Muslims in Europe are Europeans, and indeed they are going about their lives, they're making contribution like anyone else.
Now, amid the animosity, people in Norway are trying to show that religious barriers can be overcome. A group of young Muslims staged an event against anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. More than 1,000 people held hands, creating the so-called Ring of Peace around Oslo's main synagogue. The organizers were hoping at least 30 people would show up. They were seriously overwhelmed by the turnout. Online for you right now at RT.com. It's only another round of helicopter golf in Russia. You can watch extreme sport enthusiasts trying to hit meter-wide balls from the air with giant golf clubs. Yeah, another day in the life of, being in a Russian winter. That's at RT.com.